Welcome back to Valiant Hearts.
1916. Freddie was sent to the Somme.
It's a river, in
While
case you don't know.
was quartered near a small village at the top of a hill.
Will someone just give Emil some
The
proper
village
uniform?
was called
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, Job, not happening.
This is where the conflict had moved underground.
Yeah, this showcase instead another part.
The two camps dug
Sort of unseen war where both sides were trying to, outsmart each other by digging tunnels under the trenches. It was very chaotic because most of the time what was happening instead was that they accidentally found each other, so they were started shooting underground. They were finding gas sacks which were poisonous towards them, or they accidentally set up their explosives and they were basically fucking up the entire operation and killing a lot of people in the process. It was never productive. That's pretty much what it is.
Speaking
And
of
unfortunately,
which,
Emil has been sent smack dab into one of these things. What? Basically, we need to help some people. Now. Come on, I wanted to help digging. Jeez.
apparently lives are at stake. That tends to take matters.
Thankfully, Walter manages to get from above to below thanks to those convenient place tunnels. Oh, yeah, and I'm dead. Yeah, as usual, similar to the other missions where you dig, don't step on the missiles or landmines because they're insta-killing you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not even Walter wants to go there. Getting there.
Well, you've seen better days, buddy.
There you go. He also dropped something, so yeah, there you go, I can. Although, apparently we're just leaving him there. Okay.
I guess all he needed was that light pole, and he'll be fine.
I suppose.
That or we've doomed him.
Basically, we need the detonator for, to excavate the next part. Oh, jeez.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's time to run. Again, these type of caves were always unstable, and it certainly didn't help because most of the time, the surface was being bombarded by the enemy artillery, meaning that it also made the terrain even more unstable than it was. Ow. Yeah, getting there.
There we go.
Wonder why we sent available people to, help these guys who are being, confined into the mines and not someone else. This seems to be more of a job for someone like Anna.
Because
or someone who, has some proper uniform to keep their undergarments protected from all those germs.
Because we needed an excuse to have an Emil level.
I suppose. Okay, this part is rather a bit infuriating. You need to position correctly there you go, the chest up above. Then you need to throw the dynamite inside it. Then, no, I was just backing up a bit with the controller. It was my bad. Then you need to redirect the flame, so you can push it upward, and then throw it the candlestick in so that it can get light up, and then push it down the other line. Because if you do it now, you get basically, you get exploded in your face. Let's see. If I just adjust the angle like that. There we go.
Lovely.
Now I need to position it like that. It depends on the trajectory of the candlestick, because otherwise, and then you need to be very quick before the candle explodes, because otherwise you get like that.
Of course.
Thankfully, the candlesticks are right up there, so you never like run out or you're too far. Oops. Walter. Oh god.
Don't worry, he's okay.
Yeah. He's actually he suffers from NPC immunity. So. All right, let's try this again. Again, it also doesn't. And there you go. It also doesn't help that. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that the actual process of rotating the lever, the using the left analog stick, is surprisingly more complicated than in other games. You think of of a game that uses a crank puzzle, like say Ratchet and Clank or God of War, where you just need to rotate the stick accordingly, and the more you press it and the direction you press it, it's tied to where the character is, rotating the lever. Here instead, you need to circle it, but not too fast, because the characters, of course, they showcase a bit of realism, but in fact the characters take their time in order to, pull the lever properly. But this creates kind of an awkward effect. No, I don't need hints. Go away, shush. It truly makes sense to be represented by a pigeon for how annoying it is. Damn it.
Not a fan of pigeons?
Sorry. No, Jova. In my country, at least for the big cities, they're kind of considered pests.
Well, yeah, they're considered pests, but in some countries
we prefer birds like nightingales or sparrows, or swallows.
Or night monkeys.
Jova, the night monkeys are spiders, not birds.
Yeah.
Please, whoever heard of a spider called a night monkey?
Anyway, we got the detonator, so time to move. But yeah, there's the problem, Joel. In themselves, they're not that much of a problem. The problem is simply the fact that they multiplied too much, and they don't really have a natural predator. So therefore, they steal food from other smaller birds, like nightingales, like I mentioned, and they basically shit all over the place. Not just monuments, even the streets. So
they are birds.
Let's not forget, they're also war heroes.
Yep.
Problem is, we don't really need them right now, thankfully, so...
But what else to see, Tio? That's just the millennial population mooching off of their ancestors' graces.
Considering the average pigeon intelligence, that wouldn't really surprise me, if you ask me.
It's a good thing this game only takes place in World War II rather than being made
Actually,
during
this is
World
War
II.
One.
World War One, yeah.
You're right. Never mind.
I don't know if pigeons
So
were
you
used
don't
as
have
much
to put
in
up
World
with
War
people
One.
buying avocados now, do you?
Sorry, Joe, you were saying?
I don't know if pigeons were used in World War One as much as they were used in World War Two.
Well, World War One certainly. Remember, the introductory chapter with Anna has a section that explains it, and you get also to interact with a couple of them in order to... Oh, there you go. This is actually... Speaking of birds, a common thing for miners was to use canaries in order to discover if there were gas, deposits. If the bird died, yes, there was a gas deposit. Yes, it's just as macabre as it sounds. But unfortunately, it was a necessary mean for miners to not have proper human casualties.
Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
I'm more weirded out by the fact that it's specifically canaries, not like another type of animal or another type of bird. I don't know, there is probably a biological reason or something, I just don't know. Anyway, as we see, we have found the actual German soldier, tangled here, accidentally. And since Emil is actually a good sport, we can have...
Surprisingly, that is a thing that did happen a lot, actually showing mercy and taking prisoners.
Like I mentioned, there's a movie that is based supposedly on an actual event called Je Noël, where during the day of Christmas, the two warring factions at a specific point declared a ceasefire, and they actually surprisingly got along pretty nice.
They even played a game of soccer. The Germans won, though.
It's also tied to the whole message that also movies like Paths of Glory, made about being having more the war being more having more interest behind it rather than people actually believing in it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, said nowadays, obviously it makes more sense because hindsight and everything. But back then, this was indeed something completely new, but not just for the global scale, also for, like I mentioned, the new toys that people were using all over to kill each other.
Not
It
to
was
mention the first time I met something more than just a simple land game, seeing as how war at that time, well, okay, maybe not so much in the US because we had stuff like the Civil War, but in Europe, war at that time was practically almost your daily version of a annual sport of sorts,
Not just that, it was usually wars have been resolved at least for the past couple of millennia relatively quick.
Yeah,
So people were
exactly.
thinking, whatever, it's just gonna be over by Christmas, and then we'll just get our teas and move along. Anyway, there you go. See, they actually could help each other and be friends. Oh shit.
Ah.
See, at least he's covering for us.
Ah,
There you go. We just go away and we'll forget
Oh,
about
thank you.
this.
that went well.
So what did the sergeant and the other captains want us to do, actually? Of course, it also started raining. Yeah. With the Vauquois. Basically, now we can actually move into... Oh, look at that! We're up there.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, we can do that, Walt. Basically, now you need to find a way to raise up the platform.
Of course.
Again, it incorporates the puzzles and everything. But no, Java, but also the fact that also we need a piece to move to operate this. There you go, there's the cardware we need. There's also the fact, Java, that something that I reflected upon by talking with some of my other friends like 1 or 2 months ago. There's also the fact that due to historical reasons and birthplace of cultures and everything, Europe has always been a terrible place in the sense of that people have been
apathetic?
warring. No, Java. People have been warring and dying in masses for practically millennia due to having centralized culture for the West. I'm talking specifically just about confronting Europe and America. For the nation in itself of the North America, aside from the Civil War and the Independence Day War, America never had any proper actual invasion. There have been, of course, the terrorist attacks and the looming threat of the Cold War during the 80s, for example, but never actually something completely concrete, as if something compared to a country like, say, Poland, who gets invaded and destroyed every 5 minutes. Poor bastards.
Don't get me started on Switzerland. Well, okay, Switzerland was actually safe relatively.
Actually, there's a better comparison, Java. There's this movie which is taken from a book. Forgot specifically what it's called, and I forgot specifically what's the quote in English. But for the context, it's where these 2 characters were talking about what's the worth of peace and how this gets translated into a country's worth. And this guy, not an American, I think it is, says something along the line of that Italy had centuries upon centuries of civil wars, getting invaded by other people, pestilence, famine, all that sort of jets, and yet it produced people like Dante Alighieri, Michelangelo, Leonardo, artists of all kind, poetry, sculptures, stuff like that. Switzerland managed to create a country that maintained a stable peace and a perfect example of democracy for 500 years. And what's their best invention? Chocolate and cuckoo clocks.
Hey, listen, one of those is really good.
Well, they're technically
Well, of
useful in
course,
some
Roy.
kind.
Cuckoo clots are every ear's delicacy.
The message supposedly is that to compensate the... Oh, hold on, it's actually important. There you go, we delivered the package. I'm sure nothing can go wrong.
I pretty much have an idea. Like I said, I know where this is going.
Ta-da!
I mean, when you're in a war, you know, delivering packages is not exactly the news you wanna, you know, hear.
Yay, that German soldier condemned his own platoon. Isn't that nice?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, of course it is.
French officers were proud of the heavy losses inflicted on the enemy. Emil,
Oh, I'm sure they were.
full of anger, refused to be decorated for what
Jesus.
he considered to be a cowardly act. Emil and Freddie were, however, happy to have saved honest
Yeah,
father
consolation
from
at least.
Baron von Dorf's clutches. His scientific research could no longer be used to make weapons of war.
Oh.
Good news being few and far between, they wanted to savor this moment.
Before the other shoe
But
drops.
Anna had frightening news.
Yeah, Karl.
Karl,
Remember, Karls supposedly has been killed while trying to escape the camp.
upon hearing of his death, Emil became sickened with grief.
Poor Emil.
Lost the will to live, eh?
So let's flash back to where we left off with Karl and see what happened. How he exactly supposedly died 5 days earlier. There you go, it's time to run. It's not just a simple matter of, was killed on the spot, those were just the spotlight. We'll see how it happens. Of course, being the military police to a camp was a better job than staying out in the trenches, but it still wasn't exactly a great life.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there was the fact that due to the massive deaths per day, mind you, there were some, like a lot of times, there wasn't even a case of finding the bodies. They were people just assumed that they were dead, or in the best case scenario, they did find the dog tags and they sent them back to the families. So, anyway, now it's time for an entire section of stealth where Karl has to hide away from the French military police. Oop. There you go. It's like, again, it's like a way out, just in a 2D plane, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And with less comedy. The way this game balances the comedy and the serious matter is actually relatively interesting. I think one doesn't overstep the other too much. By the end, of course, when it comes to tell the big message, of course, the game will basically drop the act for obvious reasons. But I think the team did its job, in respecting the story that it tries to tell, while at the same time not, getting too into not getting too into the dark stuff, like having a darkness-induced audience apathy case.
It definitely does that job better than Child of Light.
It also, that's the thing, Joe, that Child of Light is not supposed to be historical, but that's what I mean.
Oh, well, talk about the story themes and whatnot, might as well compare
Oh,
them.
that is also... Oh, shit. There's also the fact, Jova, that more than Child of Light takes itself a bit more seriously. Yes, it has the levity here and there, comedy, thanks to the rhyming puns and everything, But here, I do get the vibes here and there of more traditional Ubisoft humor. I described it a bit this in Young Good and Evil. Ubisoft being, Franco-Canadian main company. Of course, it has studios in other places like Milan or Shanghai, but the main line is French and Canada. It has a peculiar way to do its kind of humor. You can see that, of course, in games like Rayman, but also other products, here and there. Even some of the early games that have a more realistic tone to them, like look, like Prince of Persia, or even the first couple of Splinter Cell games, for example, also had this sort of trademark humor, at least in some minor capacity. You could spot it. Unfortunately, it's a thing that Ubisoft lost in time, unfortunately. It's not like their games have stopped being fun at all. They just sort of replaced their trademark humor with a more global one. I guess it was inevitable for the fact that now they're a company that deals on a complete global scale, where...
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't say that's inevitable. Like, there are plenty of companies that do it on a
And there's
global
also
scale
the fact
that
there's
don't
also
stoop
the
to that. It's just Ubisoft's brand of... Well, I hate to say
There's
it,
also the
it's
fact-
their brand of
Oh, shit.
canned stupidity. Oh, crap.
There's also the fact, Jova, that if the trailers are anything to go by, thanks to Michel Ancel, Beyond Good and Evil 2 seems to be retaining that kind of humor, so there is that. Also, Golden Apples.
Honestly, Jova, the only... Sorry.
No, go on.
Honestly, Jova, the only major AAA company, developer/publisher that operates on a global scale that I know of that hasn't fell into that trap is CG Projekt Red. I can't think of any other one.
Nintendo, Sony...
Honestly, even Nintendo sometimes...
Nah, not like that. Again,
I still...
Nintendo, keep in mind also, Jova, Nintendo has the advantage of, spreading their games on such different terms, in terms of plot, setting, and terms of characters, so they can allow themselves to have pretty much anything that they want.
Let's not forget, Joe, that Other M was a thing.
that was years ago, and besides, I mean, Other M
Well, it
wasn't
still
really...
happened, though.
Other M wasn't really comedy-based, though, and that's not even really the norm. It's not the norm like how Ubisoft makes it their norm.
Well, I'm talking about in terms of, losing touch with what made them great in past, because Other M was definitely a case of a Metroid game out of touch.
Other M was more so, I'd say, that particular team. Heck, it wasn't even the same team.
Remember, Jova,
It wasn't like
it
Nintendo
was
as a whole.
It was also idealized, at least, and worked upon for a lot by the original series creator.
Yeah.
So...
What? Yeah, true. That's the thing, Jova. He did write and direct the game.
Well, yeah, that was him, though. Not really. It didn't really show Nintendo as a whole, though.
There's also the fact, Jova, that I say that Team Ninja, at worst, it's harmless. People love to rank, to bash upon Dead or Alive because, oh no, it shows girls in pretty clothes and it's full of fan service. Yeah. But it doesn't. First of all, it actually never bothered to show proper nudity, like that. And also, like I said, at worst, it's harmless in terms of that. In terms of actually developing a game, there maybe not be, say SNK level of competence in a fighting game, for example. But for example, the Ninja Gaiden game have been examples of. Very interestingly developed platformer, thanks also to their difficulty curves. And more recently they managed to develop, managing to sort of refine the system with the CDNT, thanks to the arcade vision. Of course, it didn't resonate with the Western audience, but that's mostly because of how the game is more structured, but it's more appreciated by the Japanese audience rather than the Western one, but that's a topic for another day. I'm just talking about the fact that Team Ninja is good enough, competent to make a game.
Oh, I doubt it.
When it came to Other M, unfortunately, it was a case of.
No. I never really blamed Team Ninja in particular. I mean, they were just doing their work, really. But that's it.
Oh, there you go. Instead of a cardboard box here, you need to hide behind a portable scarecrow. There you go.
Cool.
Conventional.
Don't worry, Shira. It's just a lamp with it in the shape of a kid.
Huh. I don't know. Even that lamp had a better fit.
Even then, Jova, CD Projekt Red and Nintendo, that's still only two. I wouldn't call that many companies.
Not to mention...
Wait, hold on. But you're talking about companies that reach it to a global scale, though. Like Rockstar, haven't forgotten. Square Enix. Okay, yeah, Square Enix, I've forgotten quite a lot.
Shall I mention a certain period between 2010 and 2014?
Okay, wait.
Also-
Wait, hold on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on. Are we talking about points in time? Because if we're talking about any points in time, well then,
Well, I'm
of
talking about in
course you've
general.
got-
Like,
well,
I'm
of
talking about
course-
companies that have never, lost touch with, their fan base and shit like that.
Vamos, capitán. Allá.
Anyway, on the point, there you go. That's actually what happened. Karl actually swapped his dog tag with the other refugee, the fugitive,
But
and
of
thus
course.
they believed him dead.
Think it is
Remember
such.
what I said? If sometimes people, since a lot of people died with each day,
1916, the bloody Battle of
people
the
didn't
Somme still
remember the
raged on.
it was more like the fact of, oh, we'll just find the dog tag and identify with that.
Would lose their lives there.
Oh,
Freddie
Nice.
was commissioned to drive the newest weapon
Well,
of war,
that's an ending.
a major progress in a conflict that was literally stuck in the mud.
Ha!
But Baron von Dorf. was
anyway,
also
yeah,
fighting
I think we're pretty much at the final showdown against the Baron. At the Battle of the Somme. If you studied a bit, you will know that this was like actually a major point, turning point for the conflict, where basically the tip favored the British and the French, alliance over the Germans. It was also the point, since it was 1916, where the factions were starting to get really tired because there's only so many lives. Well, fiction always takes this for granted, but human lives are a finite resource even when you get down to it on a basic level. So when you get to a situation where you have a big war between different factions composed by so many soldiers, each other. At some point, someone will have to end the people at disposal. Even when you get a situation where maybe you have like a one-man army character, and it's like, oh, do you want to take the entire world? Well, if he has the capacity, it can happen. People will stop coming at some point. But a lot of times, people just assume that for fiction, people are basically infinite and will keep respawning like that. And this was a case. That too. For this particular mission, you get, I think, a trophy if you manage to let your entire platoon survive the onslaught, because we need to traverse and use the tank as your cover. But of course, as you can see, it's not exactly easy. I managed still to get it. This game, like I forgot if I mentioned, this game doesn't have a platinum, but the trophies that you have are interesting enough. They're not much, but they manage to work for what we're supposed to do. This also means that oh shit. Well, it's a bit of a problem. We could have taken down the machine guns with a tank, but unfortunately now we can't. Damn.
Which means either we gotta leg it or find a way to fix the tank, and something tells me we may not be able to do the latter.
Basically, if you save all of them, you get... Oh, no. I think I was supposed to, destroy the... Yeah. Damn.
Oh, you learned your lesson, I guess?
Yeah. Basically, if you save all of your platoon, they also give you one of the historical artifacts. Well, I guess I was... Remember, I was distracted for this. Okay, this time for sure. No, maybe not, because actually getting up doesn't work like that. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Keep in mind, it's been I actually played it for the first time and recorded this game that past a while, so I forgot that I was supposed to actually pull down. There you go.
There you go. Now the lesson has been properly learned.
Well, Jova, it's called getting good. An actual telegram from New Zealand for someone, becoming a father. There you go. Now it's time to actually, train to sabotage properly the machine gun. Just again adjusting the angle, because the throwing object mechanic is probably the thing I hate the most in this game. There you go.
Oh, and the day's work?
Hey, we got my tank! Come on! Jeez. Oh, actually, no, there was another tank. Can I still use it? No? Okay.
It's kind of on fire.
Oh, so now you let me use yours. Jeez.
Charity comes at the most
we'll
convenient of avenues.
Yeah,
alright, I'm coming.
Surprisingly enough, I'm pretty confident it was potentially cut content, because it's interesting omission, but you never get the chance to, having it mentioned or get to fight against the Red Baron. In case you don't know, you probably heard just by name, but the Red Baron was a notorious German pilot during World War I, who had made a name for himself by being an absolute beast in terms of managing to be extremely precise in killing the other. If you read or watched the cartoon, or I think even there is a movie reference to that of the Peanuts. Also, there you go, the 1v1.
Oh! You're not making this any easier, are you? Oh, yeah. Man, that was straight up JoJo right there for a bit. Which will not surprise me if that is another JoJo.
Complete clash. But there you go. It even comes down to just punching the shit out of it.
Oh, heck yeah.
Although it's a series of QTEs, so eh.
Whatever, we'll still look awesome doing
And the
them.
frame rate, I get it's supposed to be a slow-mo, but the frame rate
Yeah, the
looks
frame rate
odd.
does act a bit
Yeah, it
weird, but
drops.
there we go,
There we
the
go.
finisher!
I get what they were trying to do, but I think like the execution was like a bit off there.
Just not remove the QTEs and just have, Freddie punching shit out of it. So, unfortunately, yeah, Baron Mongolf survives, but is stripped from command, degraded, shamed, and sent back home. The game says it's a fate worse than that, and I get it's supposed to showcase the message of Freddie that the revenge is pointless. I'm just not sure. But to finish quickly, if you read the Peanuts comic or watched the cartoon, or I think even the recent movie references that, maybe I forgot. Snoopy has this kind of fantasy where he becomes a pilot, an aviator, and he fights
a
regularly
little dog
the
fighter,
Red
get
Baron.
it?
But anyway, see you for the next part where things get even more depressing because, it's war.
Oh.
On a high
yay.
note, at least we made a pizza after the Red Baron. No, seriously, there's literally a type of pizza called the Red Baron's Pizza.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.